Hey everyone, and welcome back to Cheddar. To kick off 2021, Bitcoin blasted by a fresh record high, topping $34,000 before pulling back. This comes after the cryptocurrency more than quadrupled in 2020. Big question here though, will the momentum continue? And joining me now is Anthony Scaramucci, who is the founder and managing partner of SkyBridge Capital and former White House communications director. Anthony, great to have you here with us on the show, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Happy New Year. Great
Absolutely.
to be here, Brett.
Certainly. First and foremost, to what would you attribute Bitcoin's surge?
Well, it's a number of different factors. I would say the top three is the increase in U.S. dollar money supply over the last 6 months, a plus 25% increase. Just think of the magnitude of that, it being the global reserve currency, and then it's been bumped up by 25% in 6 short months. Secondary reason is, I think, the network. If you look at the group of users, it's growing exponentially. And what we know about money, when you look at the history of money, if that ledger is accepted, that mix between assets and liabilities becomes accepted by a larger neural network, then it reinforces the value. And then once the value is reinforced, you could see this becoming a store of value. And in some ways, as Michael Saylor would say, or others, it's better than gold. It's sort of a digital gold. It's more transportable. It's impregnable as it relates to the cryptography. And I've done a lot of homework on it, spent a lot of time looking at it. At SkyBridge, we're the type of people that would put our money where our mouth is. We have $25 million of the firm's capital in the fund. We have over $300 million of client capital and our capital across our platform at SkyBridge now. We wanted to make this a exciting opportunity for individual investors, very similar to what we did in the hedge fund space 10 years ago, where we democratized some of the largest hedge funds. We're in the process of setting up a structure. It's open for business now, $50,000 minimum. It's an LP structure, and you're coming into it understanding that you have a pure, long-only, pure play strategy in Bitcoin well before an ETF can get formulated or approved by the SEC.
Okay, and so with all of this in mind, a lot of stuff there. I do want you to elaborate just a little bit more on what SkyBridge is doing in this, because you seem very bullish on Bitcoin. Does that extend to the broader altcoin space as well?
Not at this time, no. I would say that we've done our homework. We think Bitcoin is the winner. If you think about the size and scale of Bitcoin at about $500 billion in terms of its market cap, and the notion that it's been attacked over 6,500 times with other competitors and other types of digital currencies and coins, it is, in our opinion, the Google. In our opinion, it is Facebook, not MySpace. It is more akin to a Google than, let's say, Ask Jeeves. And so for us, and again, we're in a new frontier. We're an institutional investor. We're offering this out to the mass affluent after doing a ton of homework on it. And so crypto is Wild West enough for most people. We're erring on the conservative side by just sticking to the top asset in the space.
You have the current U.S. Treasury that we do know had unveiled some crypto wallets regulation and proposals there. You have an incoming administration with a new Treasury head that is a familiar face in Janet Yellen. And so with that in mind, how is this going to look different, especially as Janet Yellen previously at the Fed, crypto was very different back then and was not nearly getting the same attention as it is right now?
Well, listen, what I would say is that Treasury Secretary designee Yellen is very familiar with the space. I think fiat currency producers have a general reluctance on cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin specifically, because the United States is using the U.S. dollar for policy as well as for policy associated with the economy. It's also political policy in terms of the way they marshal sanctions against rogue states like Iran or North Korea. And so one of the things about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin in particular, it's somewhat libertarian. If you go to those regulations that you're talking about, the ones that came out on December 23rd, a pragmatist like me sees those regulations as right up the middle and totally acceptable. People in the crypto world who are rank libertarians, they want absolutely no regulation. And so I'm actually arguing for more regulation for cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin in particular, because if you get that regulation, concomitant with the regulation is more acceptance, more acceptability. And I believe that this is a neural network around money, the same way Amazon is a neural network around retail, the same way Facebook is a neural network around social networking. And so the expansion will come with the regulation. And so I'm for the regulation. But yes, of course, whether it's the United States, the coin is banned in China as an example. I think what you'll find when you're on the frontier of something, there's a general reluctance, but let's face it, it is overwhelming now.
Yeah.
Over 125 million people own Bitcoin around the world. That's growing exponentially. And again, if you just look at it as a store of value, with gold being a $9 to $10 trillion market, depending on market fluctuation,
right,
and Bitcoin being just $500 billion, you see the magnitude of its potentiality in the future. And the last point I'll make is I'm getting to be an old fogey, and the millennials, my adult children, are going to be the people that really accept Bitcoin way more than my generation or the generation of Warren Buffett's, if you will.
Well, Anthony, just very quickly, while we do have you, you certainly know a lot more about politics, the inner workings of D.C. than most. And with that in mind, we have some taped phone calls, President Trump pressuring the Georgia Secretary of State to find votes for him. How do you surmise that may be weighing on the markets, or how does that play even into a Georgia runoff that we have on the Senate front tomorrow?
Well, listen, I've been a market participant for 33 years. I was in the White House for 11 days. So, but I did get a PhD in Washington shenanigans. I mean, these guys are very tough people. They're very amoral people by and large. And obviously, President Trump is the apex predator of amorality. And so he will do anything he can to disrupt the system. Stuff he's doing right now isn't well timed for the Republicans because they have this runoff going on in Georgia tomorrow that could be quite consequential in terms of the way power is controlled in Washington. He made two easy elections there for Republicans where you don't have the presidential voting going on. It's a runoff election. The participation would be down. They should have won those two elections. They'll be resoundingly close tomorrow. That's because of the nefarious behavior of President Trump. And so what I would say, what he's doing right now is criminal. It's impeachable. It's seditious. And if we're smart, we will hold these people accountable because what they're doing is in direct violation of the oath that they took to our Constitution. And so I don't think it's having an impact on the markets, however. I think the markets are just selling off a little after having a very ebullient year. Yeah. And I think that the prospect that the Biden administration is coming in once it's finally sanctified, which I predict it will be, obviously, you'll probably see a rally in the markets. There's a lot of reasons for the markets to be poised for the upside from here.
Anthony, we got to leave things there. Thanks so much for taking the time here on the day. Really appreciate it. Anthony Scaramucci, founder and managing partner of SkyBridge Capital, on with us talking a little Bitcoin today.